Hold on, fellas. This one's gonna go fast and turn left. Boogity, boogity, boogity. Welcome to American Esoterica. If history class gives you the stock car racing, this is the allergy to making right-hand turns, the essential stuff in between the personalities, events, and other ephemera that shape our history and culture. I'm Brian Powers. The entire point of NASCAR racing is to get out of sight, even from its very origins. The first stock car racers were bootleggers during Prohibition who had to have fast, maneuverable cars to outrace the long arm of the law. Bootleggers racing their souped-up cars continued long after Prohibition ended. Junior Johnson won 5 NASCAR races in 1955, but moonshining was his day job even then. So it is proudly and firmly in that tradition, from checkered past to checkered flag, that today's subject, L.W. Wright, fits. For over 40 years, Wright was NASCAR's biggest mystery, and his story is the stuff of NASCAR legend, involving everything from country music superstars to a mysterious disappearance. Buckle up, folks! It all started in 1982 with a call to newspapers in Tennessee about an up-and-coming 33-year-old driver named L.W. Wright. The driver supposedly had 43 starts in another NASCAR series and was now going to make his debut in the Winston 500 at Talladega in the Cup Series, NASCAR's highest racing tier. He had the backing, it was claimed, of none other than Waylon Jennings and Merle Haggard. If I have to explain to you who those people were, you should consider moving to Canada. Anyway, Wright applied for a NASCAR license and paid the entry fee to the race himself. The only problem? He didn't have a car, or an actual history of racing in NASCAR, or any experience racing on the kind of track at Talladega. But those are just details. Wright, building on the legend that had been entirely word of mouth from a publicist, then convinced a Nashville marketing agency to help him get a car and all the tools he'd need to race. That agency's owner, Bernie Terrell, loaned him $30,000 for the car, which he purchased from future NASCAR superstar Sterling Martin, along with an extra $7,500 for expenses and the use of a semi-truck to haul the race car south to the track. Shortly before the race, the threads in Wright's story started to unravel. One of his supposed country music partners, T.G. Shepard, released a statement that he had never heard of Wright. And Sterling Martin started asking Wright about his racing experience, only to start to suspect that Wright's mouth may have been faster than his lap times. Still, Wright had already picked out his line, and he stuck to it. He was going to race at Talladega, and he parried off the holes in his story with apologies and charm. But to race at Talladega, he still had to qualify, which, unbelievably, he did, clocking a speed of 187.37 miles per hour. He also crashed at practice on a second qualifying lap, which was another sign that he may not have been the driver he claimed to be. Racing legends Dale Earnhardt, Richard Petty, and Darrell Waltrip helped him repair his car and gave him advice. But it wasn't enough. The final proof came during the race. Wright couldn't keep up the 180 mile per hour minimum pace, and after just 13 laps, he was ordered to the garage by NASCAR. Technically, he finished 39th out of 40 in that race after another driver crashed out early, and he won $1,545. By then, though, it was clear to everyone that L.W. Wright had pawned his way into the race. So what happened after that? He did attempt to qualify for one more race, but when he failed, that's when L.W. Wright cemented his legend by abandoning his car and vanishing without a trace. The checks he had written for racing supplies, they bounced. L.W. Wright was in the wind, the NASCAR version of D.B. Cooper. He may have been the slowest car at Talladega, but in the race to find him and get the loaned money back, he managed to stay ahead of the pack for over 40 years. NASCAR officials, law enforcement, private detectives, they all hunted the man who had conned his way into a major race, all without luck. Until very recently. In May of 2022, a man by the name of Larry E. Wright came forward to claim that he was the L.W. Wright in question to a racing journal. He even brought his uniform from Talladega as evidence. In a series of interviews, Wright gave the story of how and why he wound up at Talladega, supposedly trying to earn the money to give to the FBI in an unrelated matter. Not long after, he was implicated in a more recent con, and law enforcement came looking for him in early 2023. L.W. Wright did what he is known for. He led a car chase at high speed and disappeared again for 2.5 weeks. It seems that L.W. Wright has finally stopped getting away after 40 years. He just never could go fast enough. This has been American Esoterica. All sounds were made by me, Brian Powers. Did I get it wrong? Did I get it right? Just want to tell me I should have done this whole episode in the style of the balladeer from Dukes of Hazzard? Drop me a note. The address is yell@americanesoterica.com. Thank you for listening, and God bless America.